Oh, hello boys and girls, welcome back to our channel, and today we're gonna have the Nobody Saves the World. So okay, let's start the review. Is there still room for the originally in the world of Diablo style action RPGs? While games like Path of Exile, Grim Dawn or Wolcen are entertaining in their own right, they often feel like they're just tweaking established IRPG mechanics and presentation. While Canadian developers Drinkbox Studios, previously Guacamele fame, are here to knock the genre out of its well-worn run with their own colorful, quirky Diablo-like Nobody Saves the World. So a bit of the game info. It released January 18, 2022. Platform PC, Xbox, Xbox Series X. Nobody Saves the World moves beyond the usual warriors and sorcerers, allowing you to play as a robot bodybuilder or a rat, just to name few. But does the game truly establish its own identity? Does Nobody Save the World save us from the prospect of another same Diablo clone, or it's an empty facade? Let's crack this dungeon crawl open. Nobody Saves the World casts the player as the literal nobody, a faceless and paintless being who awakens in nondescript shed with no memory of their past. You soon find the world is under threat from an equal mysterious threat simply known as the Calamity, and discover a magic wand that allows you to morph a variety of unique forms. As often happens in stories like this, you are promptly sent on a mission to retire the pieces of valuable crystal and enlist a powerful wizard named Nostradamus, who might be able to help. The world of NSTV is chock full of charming characters that poke fun at voracious action, adventure and RPG tropes. But the actual plot is largely you stand Zelda Ras yarn. Granted, there are few twists related to the real identity of the game's main character and how they ended up as Hollow Husk, but don't expect anything too mind-blowing. The real core of Nobody Save the World is the unusual array of classes which you can switch between instantly without any penalty. While some of the classics like Guard, Warrior, Ranger and Road are presented, you will also take on the form of Rider fighting, Meme, Zombie, Turtle and more. Each form plays completely different from the others, featuring unique movement, attacks and abilities, transforming to the magician who fight with the playing cards and the bunnies and white tigers he summons out of his head. A slug that traps baddies with a slime, then attacks them with its tear or one of a dozen plus others. It's up to you. Undoubtedly, Drinkbox has come up with some creative concepts, but Nobody Saves the World isn't just a Diablo clone with a few cookie classes. The game would be some shallow experience if that's all there was to it, but thankfully there are another level. After a certain point, NSTV also allows you to freely mix and match all the form's abilities you heard content. Create a mom that surfs around on trails of snake slime or a ghost horse that can turn invisible and float past enemies before kicking them in the face. As creative as you allowed to get, you still develop your favorites as some forms are just more fun to play than others. Personally, I was most into the god, horse and monk, and frankly, I don't see many people main in the slug. That said, it's clear you are not really supposed to main any one form, as the game tries pretty hard to force. In order to access Nobody Saves the World main dungeons, you need to collect a certain number of stars, while some of these can be earned by beating secondary dungeons and side quests. The main way to get them is to complete various form-specific challenges. Early on, these challenges are fairly straightforward, like killing a certain number of enemies with the X attack, etc. But you'll be required to combine forms and abilities in interesting ways later on. Nobody Saves the World progression system achieves the goal of making players try all the game classes, but it sometimes feels a little heavy-handed. Perhaps you would have preferred a system that allows me a bit more freedom to focus on my favorite forms and combinations. As it is, you'll need to unlock all game forms and level them up as much as possible to maximize your stars and complete some dungeon that feel designed around specific classes and abilities. At times I felt like I was back into the gaming system and I didn't really want to complete entire dungeons without not so favorite forms like a turtle or a slug. So I just resort to grinding mobs or respawning enemies. Other times I found myself unsatisfying place when I was out of challenges for my favorite forms, which made using them feel like somewhat of a waste of time. Don't get me wrong, the issues I just mentioned aren't a huge deal. Nobody Saves the World mostly does a fair job of getting you to play with the way you want to. There are just few kinks to be ironed out. Perhaps we are patches? I hope so. Looking beyond the game, classes and progression, Nobody Saves the World is a good, fundamentally sound ARPG. The game's Zelda-esque overload and dungeons are brought to life with beautiful, vivid visuals. The soundtrack by the Canadian indie rock star Jim Guthrie is a banger. The best basic action is responsive and satisfying, and enemies and the bosses are well designed. The game also includes 2 online co-op, which can't help but make a game like this more fun. Unfortunately, unlike the past, Drinkbox Games couch co-op is not supported. It's a mess. Nobody Saves the World is a meaty adventure overall, featuring a solid 20-hour main quest, and another dozen to clean up all the side quests and secrets, and a new game plus mode for those looking for a great challenge. This is nobody you want to hang out with you for a while. The review was based on a PC copy for Nobody Saves the World provided by the publisher. Thank you guys so much. I leave all the links in the description, so enjoy